Hey, hello, hello, hello. This is 52 Weeks of Design Live, and I am going live with Sarah Bartholomew Design. There's a fly in here.
Hi,
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. You made it back from the Hamptons.
Oh no, I made it to the Hamptons.
Oh, you made it to the
I
Hamptons.
made
Okay,
it
I'm
to the
I'm
Hamptons.
on a job site too, so all good.
Yeah, I don't love the automobile for 52 weeks. It just brings down the tenor. Um,
The
how are
automobile.
you?
You don't love the automobile? I'm sorry, it
For,
like cut out.
yeah, for 52 weeks
Oh,
live, I don't.
yes, I understand that. I understand that. I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I am great. Just got back from market. Were you there?
Oh, I did not go this year. I'm sick that I missed it, but
You'll
hell
go
with
in
it.
the spring?
I'll go in the spring. How was it? You had a launch or
It
something.
was good. We are talking about you.
Okay.
Tell me how
Not good at that.
um tell me how you got into design.
That's a great question. Um, I worked in design before I had kids for designer, but did not have formal training.
Mhm.
Then I took time off. I had four children in 4 years. And then slowly I had a girlfriend who said, will you help me? Will you come back? Will you help me? And I was like, no, no, let me give you five other names of people that I would suggest. And that one job I ended up doing, and that job kind of evolved into more
Yeah.
jobs. And it was just an evolutionary process. So
That's very exciting. That is like the happiest way to go about it, right?
yes, it was blind. It was a bit blind, but it was a happy way to go about it. And it was good. It was a good pace, and I was able to kind of leverage it up when I was ready and not rush it. And it was lovely.
Yeah.
Yes.
How old are your children?
So I have a 20-year-old, no, yeah, 20-year-old, a 17-year-old, and two 16-year-olds. I have twins, and you do too.
And mine are about to be 16 as well. I had no wow, you went
Oh my,
early, huh? You started early, I
I
started
did.
late.
Well, yeah, I did go somewhat early. Not by kind of more by chance. So, but it all worked out the way it was supposed to, and it's a
Yeah.
really fun right now. I mean, how having two 16-year-olds. Are yours boy girl or
No, boy.
boy boy?
The third is a girl and she's younger.
Okay. Okay. How old is she?
14.
14. Okay. Teenagers are a lot of work, but they're also a lot of fun. They're sassy and
Yeah.
funny. Yeah, it's always a whirlwind, and it's really fun. We have kids coming and going all the time.
Yeah. What do they think about your career?
That's really funny, Alexa. I think that they are somewhat blissfully ignorant about it. I kind like I think that I mean my I have one daughter who's very interested in art and design. They know I work, but I really when I come home, I really try to be mom, and so I don't
You.
really talk about it a whole lot. And unless they ask, and then if I ask, I tell them. But a lot of times, I mean, it's hysterical. I'll leave for a job, and before my kids could drive, I'd get a text being like, "Can you pick me up?" I'm like, "I'm not even in the state. Like,
Yeah.
sorry."
Nope.
Oops.
Oh, I
But
cannot.
yeah, I mean, I think that they appreciate that I have a job. I think they appreciate what I do, and there are times that we talk about it. But my husband and I are both really busy with our careers, and when we can be home, we kind of really just try to be home.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Note to self. Uh, when
it's
you
hard. It's hard.
no, I don't talk to them about the minutia of it, but but yeah, they're
Do you
definitely aware of it.
do you have any that would be interested in it long term?
I don't think so.
Okay.
This is
Okay.
it.
This is it.
I think I'm it. I think it stops here, but
All right.
we'll see.
Yeah.
I certainly wouldn't say no if one of them had a burning desire.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
uh, so, so yours is a burning desire. You love this. This is
I love it. I love what I do. I am so lucky to wake up every day and do what I love and to get paid for doing it. I mean, the last little bit's been a bit challenging for all of us, I think. The love has been hard to muster as of late, but I still really do love what I do, and I'm really
yeah.
grateful to be able to do it. And I have wonderful clients that I call a lot of them I call friends, and you know, it working with them has been just a dream. So yes.
Now, how far afield do you work? I think you work everywhere, don't you?
I do work everywhere. Right now, it spans from, you know, kind of along the eastern coast to as far as Jackson Hole, Wyoming right now.
Yeah.
So
Which is blowing up.
crazy, crazy.
Um,
I don't, do you have any projects out there? It kind of makes, you know, the workers, it's so hard.
yeah, but it's so dynamic. It's just
I know it's just
bursting
hard
at
to get the
the seams.
workers to be able, they have to commute 2 or 3 hours into the job, and like there's
Yeah,
just not enough of them. But yeah, it is so, and it is so dynamic, and it's exploding. And I think COVID obviously had so much to do with that. So
yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Um, so I consider your work really, really colorful and beautiful, and um, it's definitely got wonderful traditional notes. How do you see yourself, and has it changed?
Hmm. That's a great question. I think that I think that I would call myself definitely a traditionalist. I mean, at heart, I grew up in Northern Virginia, right outside of Washington,
Yeah.
D.C. I was raised around a lot of incredible traditional architecture that really informed so much of my design aesthetic. I'm always looking to the past and being like, what stands the test of time? Like, what about this design still feels fresh today? And how can I pull that into today's both, you know, design aesthetic, but also our everyday modern lives, and still make it feel fresh. And so trying to walk that edge is kind of, I feel like, where I've really focused my design, or my design sensibilities
Right.
live. I
So
think
here's a horrible, impossible to answer follow up.
oh good.
What is yeah, I'm like, you'll enjoy this. You can't answer. No. So what is the answer to that question? Like, what does stand the test of time that you can pull into your designs today?
Yeah.
What is it that you most rely upon to do that?
Definitely antiques.
Mm-hmm.
I think silhouettes. Like I think, like to me, it's the form. It's the silhouette of something that still feels modern. It can still feel modern, but it can be reinterpreted by how we what else we associate it with it within the room. We and what you maybe upholstered in, if it's a piece of upholstery. So I think that to me, the form is what really makes it stand the test of
Mm-hmm.
time. I mean, if you walk through, you know, Jefferson's Monticello, like the silhouettes, and then the collections of interesting objets and that are so personal to that individual, and the way that they are put together is what really creates something that still, there's something about it that still feels modern. It's just weird. I can't, yeah. So
So, well, no, I think that makes sense because collections you collect over eras
yeah,
potentially, and so you
yeah.
can't peg it. But do you find yourself gravitating towards clients who have collections, or that those are the people that come to you, or do you need to encourage them? You know, guys, what do you love?
Mhm.
Let's start it.
I mean, I think I've had both. I definitely prefer those who have a story and their own collection, and who are invested and have been invested for a while into collecting, or their homes in some, and have a point of view, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's always the most rewarding. However, I think it's also fun to watch somebody who maybe hasn't really done that before or thought that way, to say, okay, like, okay, your grandfather flew planes, like, you know, you know, you didn't realize it, but you had these instruments, these flight instruments in a closet somewhere. Like, how can that be incorporated into your
Mm-hmm.
bookshelf? Like, you know, I think that there are just fun different ways that
That's very specific. Like,
I
what?
know.
Do I
I
have
did.
flight instruments in my closet?
Yes, he like had like he had these old vintage flight, like like, I don't know what they were. They were like, little
Like
like,
dashboardy things.
yeah, like they were really pretty. They were brass. And I was like, like, this is just sitting in a closet. And then like he went and started finding more, and I was like, he was going on eBay and Etsy. And I was like, awesome. Like, I
Yeah.
love this. So I just think that it's fun to watch them be like, oh yeah, that is something that is part of my story and can be incorporated into a beautiful interior.
I also think your choice of fabrics is really beautiful. I
Mhm.
always admire the fabrics you choose.
Mhm.
And now you're coming out with a fabric line with
Yes,
Lee.
yes,
And
I'm
that
so
is that
excited.
coming out like in a couple days?
It was supposed to be a couple of days, Alexa, but as you know, things are taking a little
Yes, I
bit
do.
longer. So, so the end of November now is when the newly Jofa line will launch.
That's essentially a couple of
It's
days.
a couple days. Yes,
Okay.
it is. I mean,
So
we're almost there, and I'm so very excited. It was really a dream to work with the Lee Jofa team to develop and the Kravitz team to develop this collection, and they really, it's been 4 years in the making.
yeah,
They
yeah.
really took my inspiration, and really
Yeah.
heard.
Back up and tell me how this all started.
So it all started. I mean, I feel like I'm so lucky to say this, but they approached me and asked me if I wanted to do this, and I was like, absolutely yes. And within, a few weeks, I was meeting with Stephen and Shelby in their
Mhm.
office, and I had put together this book. And again, as I do with my design, I was like, okay, what about, you know, antique text, like I have a collection of antique textiles, and I have
You
collected them.
do.
I
When
do.
did
And
that start?
oh, I mean, I've always kind of picked them up. Like if I'm at a flea market or on auction or on Instagram, I've just kind of had this like baskets full of just these like, and sometimes I'll make pillows, like I'll make
Of course.
extra pillows out of them just to like give that extra layer in. And so I've just had them for quite some time. And my office is like, okay, what are we gonna do with, like, they just keep coming. I'm like, oh, I just couldn't resist. Um, but I've just always loved antique textiles. And so, but I think that, I've taken the historical designs and really got to get into Lee Jofa's archive, which is unbelievable, or, Kravitz archive, which I don't know if you've ever had a
Oh
chance to,
yes.
but it's just unbelievable. And dig through and be like, okay, like how do we reinterpret it in a fresh way? And I think the color palette is the way that we did
Mhm.
that in this scenario, is just to keep it more clean and fresh and happy. And I think that they really, I mean, I put out the inspiration, but they
Yeah.
really helped me bring it to life. So it was really a dream
Which,
partnership.
yeah, which is kind of the definition of a great collaboration. You
Yes.
want
Yes.
people who bring their knowledge where
Yes.
you don't have it, and then you bring yours to them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's like them knowing, like, I know what I'm feeling like I'm missing in the market, but they also know what sells. So it's like this yin yang of just, yes, exactly. The someone who knows the market and knows, how to make these beautiful fabrics and really to bring your vision to life. So
So
it has been really,
what was missing? Because
mm,
I totally think that's the best way to design.
yes.
'Cause it's sincere.
Hmm. There's a couple of things that I love within the collection that I think that we're missing. Patterned wovens.
Hmm.
Um, I think it's hard to find good patterned wovens. We did a few of those. There's so many stripes out there, but we did this gorgeous woven stripe.
There's always room for another stripe.
No, it's just, they nailed it. And then I love Indian fabrics, Indian,
Hmm.
just that Victorian Albert kind of Anglo-Indian. And I love by being able to dissect a fabric. And so, those Indian borders and bands, and so that was kind of the heart of the collection. And so we did that in some really fun colors. And they're just, what I love about it is that any designer can take it and make it their own,
Yeah.
and dissect it and put it into a pillow or into wall coverings or into, um, you could create architecture in a room with these.
Hmm.
So it's really, that was another really fun piece that I
Are
thought.
fabrics among your favorite tools in your arsenal?
They are that, and I would say antiques with great silhouettes. I think
Yeah.
without, like, I can't just do fabrics. I think I have a lot, and rugs. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of designers who fabric is number one, and I don't know that it always is for me. Although I do love textiles, but I really, without the framework of some solid silhouettes and antiques and the mix, like if it's all, if it's all heavy fabrics, or if it's all heavy antiques, or if it's all like, it's to
Yeah.
me, it's so hard to remove an element, because without all of the elements, the design just never feels
Right. That there's got to
100%
be,
authentic.
yeah, there's got to be some magic in there, and it's finding that right
Yep.
balance.
Yep.
What does your house look like?
Well, that is a really great question, because my house is just recently, we're moving.
Yay!
I know, that's super exciting. So we're embarking on a new adventure with a new house, which is just in the very beginning stages.
Okay, so what does the one you live in look like, and where
Okay.
are you going, and how is it different?
Great question. The one that I live in now is very much a traditional Georgian house, very much a Virginia house, old brick. It's old. It's been renovated to accommodate our modern life. Lots of blue and white, lots of collections, and then some, more subdued moments with modern art. I don't know if you've ever used that kava paper, but my dining room's covered in those. It almost looks like
By whom?
limestone. It's paper. It's like wood. It's like pieces of wood
Yeah.
pressed. Yes.
Yes.
So,
It
and
like
that just like,
nobilis,
yes.
because I have that in my office, and I do love
Yes.
that
Love
paper.
it. Yeah, my dining room's that, with just modern art and a really pretty camel, you know, uh, silk stripe from Pierre Frey on the Louis XVI. So very tailored, kind of Bill Blassy in there. Like, so yeah, I mean, I think it's eclectic. It's really eclectic. But I would say overall, it definitely has a traditional,
Yeah.
happy family feel. The next house we are going to will be a full gut and renovation of another, traditional historic home. But I'm really thinking, it's kind of sad, but I'm kind of thinking about, what does life look like? I still will have 4 children, and hopefully one day grandchildren. But what does it look like to live in this house for my husband and I, and to entertain more, and not to be like, it's the young family phase is behind me, and it's just a different phase. And I've had some clients who are, recent. I mean, in 2.5 years, I'll be an empty nester, and crazy, but I've done that for clients, and it's been really fun to watch them think about how they want to live,
Yeah,
even
totally.
if they do have a big family that comes back to visit. Like, is what does life look like for us? And I do think a lot more time to entertain when the kids are, as these kids are have their own lives and aren't at our feet.
Yeah, I mean, my husband and I threatened that we're going to go to college with the kids, and they do
Yeah,
not.
I know. Wouldn't that
We're
be
like,
so fun?
so where are we going to apply? Where are we going?
Oh
Are
my
we
gosh,
going abroad?
every college visit I go on, I'm like, I want to do this again. It was so, yes,
Yeah.
I want to go, like, all the programs. I'm sitting there, like, taking notes, listening to all the questions. I'm like, this is so fun. And they're looking at me like, mom, stop.
So, yeah, the application process probably not so much, but
No.
so I love that you're struggling, or not struggling, chewing through that idea, because obviously there's something happening in New York too, where tons of real estate is being bought to create private clubs.
Interesting.
Isn't it interesting? It's really interesting. It's so interesting that it's kind of head scratching. This seems to be an
Why?
emerging, exactly why it seems to be an emerging market. I mean, I can't tell you how many places are doing this, and I think
Do you think it's because the commercial real estate isn't as needed?
I think that's part of it. I think COVID is part of it. Wanting to hang out with like your group of people.
Mm-hmm.
Percy, don't whine. I think, and this might be kind of like a sour thing, people want to hang out with like
Their
their
people.
group. Yeah. Might be a little echo chambery, but again, I mean, we all do seek out people, whether it's by neighborhoods or,
Yes.
we want to, you find artists all living among artists
Yeah.
and
Yes.
like
Like the
finding
tracks like.
people.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, somebody else is saying they don't think residential spaces are profitable, though I can't imagine. Well, I guess it's really the margin. People want to make the developers. That must be the most lucrative version. I don't know. But
That's an interesting thought because Nashville just boomed. I mean,
God,
it went crazy. So talk like I don't know. I can see that maybe now that interest rates are, the economy changing, which we don't have to go into, but like,
yeah. Ixnay on the economy.
yeah. But I do think that, residential here has gone nuts.
Yeah,
Nuts.
no. I know. They're Everybody's moving to Nashville or Texas or Florida.
Florida. Yeah. Yeah, they are. And
Um,
it's nuts. The amount of construction that's still going on here is just insane.
but so that emphasis on entertaining, which you listed as one of the primary things for you in the new
Yes.
house, is
Yes.
definitely the
And I think,
response to COVID.
and gardening, I do think it is. I think it is. I want a house. I want to have garden parties. I want a house that as my time, starts to open up somewhat, outside of work, I do really want to focus on living well and living well with my friends and with my community.
And yeah, and
That's
defining what that
important.
for you.
Yes, exactly. And thinking that through as we create this new house. And it's really fun. It has been really fun to watch clients do that as well.
Somebody just said they're moving to conservative states. I think they're also moving to tax places. The
Taxes.
tax thing.
Yes,
It's
I
more
do think
tax than
taxes.
anything else.
No,
Um,
I mean,
so obviously entertaining. My parents, when I grew up, went out
every night.
every night during the week.
Okay.
And
Eight,
I don't mean 2 nights a week. I mean every night of every week. My parents went out.
like to an event, like socially or to
And
eat.
dinner parties. It was just a different landscape. It was a different time.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, like the last,
Mm.
I mean, so yes, dinner parties and everybody would be dressed up, and yes, events, but big philanthropic events, not the opening of a shoe store, which is my era.
Yeah.
Our era is come join us at the shoe store. And
Yeah.
it's like, I'm not going to come join you at the shoe store. I love shoes, don't get me wrong. But it's not like I'm going to be meeting up with a crowd of interesting people necessarily.
Mm-mm.
And sitting down to dinner and getting to talk to the most interesting people ever. It's like little bits, little social things. So
Yes.
COVID obviously turned that on its head. And this is the first time I think so many people have been so determined to entertain since I grew up.
Interesting.
And
I agree. I would say that it's become definitely one of the top, the top things that clients and I discuss is how they will entertain when
yeah,
I'm starting a new project, for sure. And they are entertaining a lot.
well, because we need to know that we can have dinner with our friends,
Yes.
or address how do we want to have dinner with our friends if we ever were in a situation where we had to stay home.
Right. Yeah.
And I mean, you're very lucky. You said garden parties. Obviously, I'm in New York, no garden for me.
Yeah.
But it's exciting to think that way.
And I kind of always said, like, once I grew my children, I would grow my garden. I think that's like something is going to be a really fun new phase for me. And I'm thinking through how to, like, not only the interior spaces, and obviously a landscape architect is a big part of this, but like, how do I structure the outdoor spaces?
So tell me.
Well, I haven't gotten there yet, Alexa, but
Okay.
it's almost like it's almost like I'm looking at the land and being like, okay, like, how does this space function? Like blocking it out like rooms. So it's not set in stone yet, but like, how do I create a contained, garden? Do I want to do composting? Lots, like, where's the beautiful section? Where's the kind of more messy section? Will there be vegetables? Will there be a raised part that you can't necessarily see? How, if we have a pool, how does that integrate into those two spaces? Where do you have a space for a large group to be able to gather that is, both beautiful, like, but also very functional in terms of being flat and being able to have hardscape that accommodates that. But how do you know, how is that beautified by a planter? Like, just all, and how does that flow off of a garden room? Like we're
Yeah.
doing a garden room, and how does that look onto so it's almost like you start to lay out the interior and then you take the land, and this is just something that we didn't spend the time doing in this house that we're in right
Yeah.
now because I was so busy. So,
Yeah.
I
No,
mean, we have
all
some
prop.
outdoor living spaces, but it wasn't thought through like I am now.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause how fortunate. I'm
I
so
am really,
excited.
I feel really lucky. I do
I
feel really
I'm really happy for you. I'm
Thank
a
you.
little jealous about the part.
Well, do you have a place outside of the city?
My mother does.
Okay.
And I'm in it right now. And my dog is whining at me.
Okay.
So yeah, I've come out to see a job site, but obviously you and I are speaking first, so I didn't want that car. So have you had any revelations? Have you had any revelations about the garden room in the garden? Like, I assume the garden room is in addition to a living room.
Yes, and it's off the living room and it'll be, a conservatory. I want it to be a place where you could I want it to be a place where I can enjoy just like a morning cup of coffee, but then it also could be I also thinking a lot about conversion spaces. So like spaces that can be used one way when I'm living in it, but also could be used another way. We could put a big long table and entertain there and open it
Yeah.
up to the garden. For
Are
more
you doing windows as well as screens?
I am not. The garden room will be windows, so it will be interior space. We do have a separate space where we are going to do screens, and I've been doing those, the screens that you can drop down. In
Right.
Tennessee, we have a lot of bugs, so there are definitely a lot of seasons of the year that you have to have them down. But I don't love looking through a screen, um, so
I don't mind it so much. I mean,
it doesn't bother you.
no, I mind much more about the bugs.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I don't mind a screen at all. I don't mind a screen.
yeah,
Um, it's also a great opportunity to do a tented room.
yes, it is.
Uh,
It
and
is.
who does that?
I know. Me.
Um,
I
yeah.
love it.
You mentioned Bill Blass. Bill Blass is one of my design heroes.
Hmm.
Who do you look at as your? And I ask this because I've just handed in a book about
Do you
uh,
have a new one coming out?
well next year.
Okay. That's
But
all.
sorry, this is Sarah Bartholomew. Is this guest? Somebody just clicked in and said, "What are we doing?" Um, so I just handed in a book about what I do for myself and inspiration, and how it does or doesn't filter in from some of my heroes.
Okay.
And you know, Bill Blass is just
That's really cool.
doesn't get better. So who are the people that you look to that you just adore?
Mm. Gosh, there's so many. Yeah, Bruce Budd, Bill
Oh,
Black. I
and
mean,
that's very much the same. Bruce Butter.
Bane. Yeah, I like a tailor. I love tailoring. I mean, I do love, as much as I love, and I have clients who want a lot of feminine frills, and I can do it. Personally, I really love a tailored interior. But then on the flip side of that, I love that old world, Studio Pergali and, Renzo Mongiardino and, gosh, I just have so many, it's like so hard to like pick just one and it's so many different veins, but I would say like my heart, like it just inside me is so tailored. And so I lean that way. Obviously, Bunny Mellon's wonderful. There's this really great Italian designer, Fabrizio Casagari, I think his name is.
Mhm.
Do you
Yeah.
know? Oh, I love the
I,
way he combines
yes.
really interesting.
CSIG.
Yeah, CAS, I don't know if I'm saying
Yeah, yeah.
IGH.
I never uttered it out loud.
I know, I said
I was
Casagari.
hoping you were sure and could just give me the cheat. Um,
I'm going with Fabrizio Casagari, but I don't know. I may have totally botched it, but he's amazing and you should look him up.
yeah.
He's so, and I love his, again, it's so curated. it's so collected. It's so, but with still a very clean aesthetic. I mean, it's not overdone. It's not over decorated. It's just, it's beautiful. And the yin to the yang, it's just it's again that magic that you're talking about that you just can't really put your finger on, but you're like, that's it.
What
Fabulous.
what does over decoration mean to you? Because certainly I know what you're talking about, but
Mm.
if you were to walk into my apartment, you would know it was decorated. I mean, there would be no question that it was decorated, which I think, as a decorator, I'm allowed. But like, where's the point where it goes over for you?
Ooh.
Beyond discomfort.
Yeah, it's just too much, too many frills, too many, uh, too many trims, too many tassels, too many. Like I feel like I'm collecting, like it's a dust collector. Like I'm walking. Sorry. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I guess I go back to like that's my like I mean I hardly wear jewelry. I'm just like I tend to just edit my own life the most.
Yeah. Okay. What's your
Sorry.
palette? What's your no, no, no. It was bound to happen, Sarah. Somebody was going to tell me there is such a thing as too much fringe.
I don't, I mean, I feel like you've got a great, you are tailored. You've got a lot of handsome, I love your handsome, design. I just think it's got that that
I
strength.
too, I
And
too
I think
enjoy
that's
handsomeness, but I do love my trimming.
okay.
And I look at a Studio Paragali and I look at Mongiardino and I'm like, yes.
I know.
Um, but wait, what I was just going to ask you something and it just flew out of my head. I keep doing this more and more because I'm like so excited. Oh, your palette. What is your palette in your house?
Mm. Neutrals, blues, whites, greens, more neutrals.
Okay. So,
Every now and then, and I do have some, I have a little touch of yellow. I
mhm,
love a pop of yellow.
pop of yellow.
In an unexpected place, not necessarily like a yellow room, although I've done yellow rooms, but not in my own house.
Do you I know that there's no such thing as trends because people are personal and it's really who you're working for at any given moment. Oh, yeah, yes, I thank you. Somebody did spell it out for us. And
Oh,
it's like the prince and princess of Monaco. It's that name, which I do not want to pronounce because I feel I will.
okay. I botched it. Well, then I botched it, but hopefully somebody can correct me and
Maybe you didn't botch it. We won't know until somebody tells us.
okay. Well,
So
at least someone will help keep us honest, I hope.
yeah. Um, do you find that the palette you just described best describes the desires of the people you work for as well?
I would say so. Yes. I think those are all really easy to live with. I mean, they're easy to sell, they're easy to live with. I think that it's in nature, and it's what I've gravitated since I was young. I mean, when I first decorated my parents first let me decorate my room, I had, the Laura Ashley Brambleberry, which was like blues and greens, and then I had a white wicker headboard. I mean, it's what I've naturally always gone to. I'm not I I can do other colors and love other colors, but I think I just keep coming back to it just because it's calm to me, and I've got enough hecticness.
Break up with colors or fabrics occasionally when I've not because I don't love them, but because maybe I love them too much.
Or I
So
need a break. It's
yeah,
like
I
too
need to
much.
break them, take some time off, and then come back.
Yeah, I agree.
Though not purple.
You love purple.
I'm not breaking up with purple. And yeah, I get it. I know it's a tough one.
It's hard
Scott
for me. I've never gravitated towards it.
Scott
I like
Kravitz,
pink. I love pink.
love pink. Pink
Love, love.
moment.
I know it is really hot right now, but I do love a good like, you know, chalky, a little bit of a calamine undertone pink.
Somebody just asked you about wood paneling since you are in a wood paneling room. You're at a job site, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, wood paneling, how prevalent is it these days? I love it.
I love it too. Um, I would say it's not super prevalent. I think
And
I'm hoping it makes a comeback. I think especially in older historic homes, like if you've got beautiful wood, I won't let you, it's sacrilegious to try to, you know. And I think it's what you again, it's what you do with it. Like how do you bring in some unexpected or some juxtaposition to um that finish? I think it can be treated in a very modern way. So I'm all for it. I love a beautiful wood room. And I think people who are doing newer wood rooms are doing more light colors, more of a cerused. Yeah. And that'll be the dark paneled rooms of our, of our parents' generation or of 15, 20 years ago. And that's okay. Like I think that there's beauty in all of it.
yeah. Well, there's a
I
certain red mahogany that dates from the 80s that is grotesque.
but you
It's
can
the
strip
same.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not the wood. It's
Yeah.
a popular. It
Yeah.
was like ugly dark red with malachite.
Oh.
Oh.
What do you think that is of our day?
Well, I don't disagree with you about the cerused oak. And I think Calicotta is our creme of Marfil.
True.
Um,
True.
harder and harder. I mean, because none of us wants to pick a material that's different just to be different. You know, like if it works, no problem.
That's so true, though. I had not thought about Calcutta being the cream of Marfil, but you're right.
Yeah,
And I think that clients want something that they aren't going to feel like they have to turn around and change like tomorrow, because it's a big expense, you
for
know.
sure.
But I sure do feel like a cream of Marfil needs to be changed.
Yeah, you know, it's a pity that travertine, Roman travertine, is so hard to.
Mm, it is hard. Why?
It's been, you know, farmed.
Yeah, you're right.
Porphyry. I mean, if you could find me some Egyptian porphyry, I'd be
Oh
cool
yeah, all day long.
all day long.
Yeah.
Um, do you have? I'm just living through your real estate. Do you have a place you go to when you're not at home,
We
like do you have a house or a?
Another property. My in-laws have, my husband's family has a farm that's about 25 minutes outside of town that is just dreamy this time of year. We go out there. Um, but that's about it. I mean, we go lots of places. I love to travel. And we could love, you know, we just got back from the beach. But but in terms of a place that's close by that we get away to, that is our place, and it's just gorgeous. It's a large property. The kids are so happy there. The internet doesn't work very well. You know, it's good.
Have you been to India?
I have not, but that is on my list. Have you been?
I have been, and I've worked there.
You've
Um,
worked there, Alexa.
worked there.
How did that work? Okay.
There's
And
a story, yeah. But all good though. Um, you have to go, given your love of it.
I know it's on my list. I've heard it's hard. I heard it's hard to go. Just in terms of like the assault on your senses. But I want to go up to northern India. Yeah, I
Oh
can't.
well, I mean, I'm a city girl, so I love a big, busy
You
city.
do. You love the hustle and the bustle. Yeah.
I love the hustle and the bustle, and I'm also used to um, manicured places right next door to grittier places. I
Right.
almost wouldn't know what to do if I
If
didn't
there
feel
weren't both. Yeah.
yeah. It would feel like a set. So I love the hustle and bustle of India. It is very sad to see any neighborhoods or areas that are poverty struck. You know, that is, but it's good to know about. It's good
Yeah.
to
Be
see. It's good
aware. Yeah.
to the artistry and the artisans and all of these places. Like, God, I don't know why there's so much gifted
Oh,
the textile work, the jewelry work. Like, What
I
is
like
what is going on in India that there's so much talent
I
to be
would love to like go buy vintage saris and like bring them all, like, you know what I mean, and make some fabulous room out of it. I just think that would be so fun. Yeah, it's on my list.
had? Yeah. What else is on your list?
Oh my gosh, so many places. I haven't been to Morocco. That's on my
Never
list.
been to Morocco.
That's on my list.
That's on.
Actually, we really want to go to Iceland. I've heard
I,
that that is really beautiful and obviously not a design destination, but I've heard the natural beauty, and I really do get inspired by nature. The colors, the textures, and just the time away, like just the
and I
headspace.
heard that about Denmark as well. Like that, it's
Oh,
just so vastly naturally beautiful.
I
Though
love
I am
Denmark.
a city girl, and I'm like, oh, nature.
Yeah. No, Denmark. I've done Denmark. Denmark's amazing.
And
It's
was it that way? Was it just a
it was just
salt of nature?
gorgeous, gorgeous. But then you also have Copenhagen, and you know, you it's a really special trip. I did that in Sweden.
It's a big
Um,
world.
I know it's a big world. I want to do Argentina. That's on my list. Mexico City. I mean, I have so many places. I haven't done
Oh,
Mexico City, and
I
I've heard
love
it's like on fire right
I
now.
love Mexico City.
You do? Yeah.
But it too is this. It's a busy, busy city. If you have no tolerance for busy, and like 12-lane roundabouts, then
I have full tolerance for that. I mean, I was right as I said, I was raised in the DC area. I have full tolerance. I just heard with India that it's just like it. I think it's just everything that you see is hard. There's some hard stuff to see, so I think that's hard. And I'm like a sensitive person, so
yeah,
yeah.
um, yeah. So
Yay, Sweden! I see
what?
someone says yay, Sweden. It is really that's another one that was
And and
really special.
if you love Bill Blass and you love Bruce Budd, if
Yes,
you don't love Sweden, some dots
Gustavian,
have
Gustav.
not been connected.
I
Yeah.
know. I went there with my daughter who loves design, and we did all of the beautiful historic castles and homes, and it was really one of our favorite trips. So,
Somebody is reiterating Mexico City is so sophisticated. So many. It's also I had one of my the best meals of my life in Mexico City at
uh,
a fancy restaurant, and I just
and Sheila Bridges for Iceland. Okay.
oh yeah,
Okay.
and Sheila Bridges. I feel like she's talked about the different colors in Iceland being very inspiring to
The
her.
Northern Lights and all of it. Yes. It's yeah. But I need a list for Mexico City because that's an easy one to do. That's an
And
easy
you
one
have
to
been
to
to
pull
Japan?
off. Pardon?
Have
I
you been to
have I been to where?
Japan?
No, but my dad was born there. That's on my list. And my aunt worked there a bunch. And so I've heard it is unbelievable. I'm assuming you've been there too.
I have. If I won the lottery, I would just be
Would you live in Japan?
no. I would just keep traveling.
Okay. Yes.
I I just and actually that's one of the things I loved about the Anthony Bourdain show is
Yes.
getting I'm definitely a museum goer, but that's a very think of how many times you go to the museum in your own hometown. It's not necessarily representative of the city. It's a maze or the countryside or whatever. Um, we all love going to museums and seeing the historic offerings, but you really want to see what are people doing. And I found
True
that
food.
empathy.
True food. Absolutely. It
No,
was.
but that was so much more than food. It was
Oh yeah, but
all
it
of
was the
it.
bridge. It was the bridge
Yeah.
into real life, right? Like it was every time like that took you to, you know,
Yeah. It was the gateway into
yeah.
the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could just travel forever.
What
Um,
did you like about Japan?
oh gosh, what's not to like? It's incredibly beautiful. It's incredibly beautiful and it's meticulous and their textiles and you think of I'm not a huge sushi eater because you can't melt cheese on it, but just looking at it is gorgeous. And
Mhm.
yeah, I enjoy different cultures and I've got just so much more to learn. So um
Agreed. Agreed with that.
uh but okay,
Turkey.
well,
I want to go to Turkey.
Turkey's amazing.
Okay, look,
um
you've been everywhere, Alexa.
No, no, I haven't. I need to win the lottery and just travel for the rest of my life and soak it in.
I'm in.
But
Yeah,
but I think, say how you are inspired by Indian textiles and your appreciation of the graphic quality of the prints and the, all the things that whatever it is that you love about Indian textiles. Um, it would
it
feed,
would. Oh, I
and
know.
I
I
assume you want to do more product because it
yeah,
is a great way to play with influences that you may love that you don't necessarily get to play with when you're working in somebody else's house.
absolutely. I do think that that was also really a lovely part of this whole experience is I didn't have to, it wasn't in a specific project. It was just being able to really dive into the just the full immersion into textiles, and that is something that I really, and yes, I do need to go to India because I am so very much inspired, and I have some friends who and I think there's some might be on here, but who are textile manufacturers and who, do most of their work in India, and their work is so beautifully detailed and just rich, and the color palette. I mean, it's just,
Mm.
it, and the hand blocking and the embroidery, and I mean, on and on and on. It's just the silk, the weave of the
Yeah,
silk, and
also
the
meticulous.
weft. It is. It's very meticulous. I mean, yeah, I would just get lost there. I could spend a lot of time, learning, digging, seeing, spending time with weavers, with the artisans, with the blocks, all of it.
And we have to sponsor and support all the artisans of this
Yes. Yeah.
love because we have to make sure they stay in business supplying us with their gorgeousness.
Agree.
Uh, so if you were to do more product,
Mm-hmm.
because it is so exciting and it's fulfilling in a different way
Yep.
than your day job,
Mm-hmm.
what are some of the categories where you think you'd really that like you find something missing and you really want to go in there and play with it?
I mean, I would say the next two that I would love to touch would be furniture and lighting, which you've done so well. But I do think that those are two categories that I have lots of ideas for, and that I would love to be able to explore further, and bring my aesthetic to the table. So
Yeah.
I think those would be really fun.
Yeah, and it's amazing just when you think like there can't possibly be a new design
No.
for a lamp that I would want or a sconce. There are. There
Well,
are new designs.
there are, and I think, we all get tired of again, it's kind of like, the Calcutta. It's like Calcutta, but I think you just eventually you're ready for something new and different. Our eyes get tired, and but then I also think there's the tried and true. I mean, it's both and. I mean, I think visual comfort, which you have a line for, and your pieces are incredible for. There's some of those that are just workhorses that it's like no matter what, it works.
It's showing up. It's showing up
It's showing
because
up. Yeah. Yeah. So I would love to bring some of those to the table, and then some with a little more quirk. So I think it's just that's the fun of it. I think that's what's really fun about product design is that you really do get to put those things that are those workhorses that you're missing into the universe, the stripe, the sconce, the swing arm, whatever it is. And then you get to have a little more fun and add a little serendipity
yeah,
to
and
the
culture moves.
yes, it
Culture
does.
is not stagnant. It needs to
Yeah,
change and rattle and roll.
yeah.
Um,
Roll and roll. That's right.
so when okay, and then I will stop tormenting you with my rapid fire questions. I'm
No,
in a very nice mood today. It's like what?
what else?
Um, so when you're thinking about this house, because it's so interesting to hear you say, like, I'm thinking about
Mm,
when my kids aren't there.
mm,
Um, and I selfishly want to know about this
mm.
also. What do you see your like? Do you have a green thumb?
I do, yes. But I have not, like, I love plants. I can keep them alive. I love flowers. I love flower arranging. However, like I said, I think I have decided and held myself back. Like, there's only so many things you can do in a day, so many hours. And being a working mother of four, it's just that has been the lower priority. And it's always been like, kick the can down the road to say, I'll do that when,
Yeah.
because I do enjoy it and I do love it. So I've done it in small ways, but I haven't done it to the extent that I'd really like to.
Yeah. Quick question. Is Sam a son or a daughter?
Sam is a son.
Sam would like a bigger room, he just said. He said, can I have a bigger room?
And he says, I'll water the plants. Samuel Wilson. Oh my gosh, get off.
I like you, Sam. Stay with us. Awesome.
Oh, water the plants.
So,
Oh my God.
so the reason why I'm asking you about this, besides the fact that
I have to tell you, my group chat, my family group text
yeah,
is going off, and I haven't read a single one, but obviously they're all talking about this. So, because I'm like, why are they keep texting?
yeah,
And they're supposed to be at
yes.
school. Y'all are
Sam
all in
says
school. Y'all are all in school.
He says the whole family is on. Yes, I think you're going to make Sam's room chartreuse and purple.
Yep.
And yeah, we should think of the ugliest things or the things that your children would most hate.
You all are all going in closets.
But if there's another pandemic, you need to give them space.
Okay.
Not that there is, not that there will be.
No, there won't be. No.
There will. So it's so funny. So the reason why I ask you about the gardening and about how you see your house developing and do you have a green thumb is I'm in search of hobbies. I have no hobbies.
Okay.
And I need some hobbies. What?
Netflix?
Is that a hobby?
I don't know.
I mean, because then I do have hobbies. Then I've got a lot of hobbies.
Yeah, what do you do to have fun? I mean, yeah. What is fun?
I travel or I watch
travel.
Netflix, and I eat. You know, I love food. I had Taco Bell last night. I'm not afraid to say it. Okay. My family poo-pooed my choice, but I wanted Taco Bell, and I ordered Taco Bell.
Well, my Sam loves Taco Bell. Yeah. So actually, they all do. I'm not a big Taco Bell fan. I kind of had a bad experience in high school. I don't know if it was the Taco Bell or maybe some other things, but you know,
the tequila.
Yeah, or the tequila. But it
left a pall on your memory. But yeah, I think we should be doing exactly what you're doing. We should be forecasting a little bit about how we live and how we want to live. And maybe that means getting a couple of hobbies.
Yeah. And I think as our kids grow up, I think that more and more, whether it's time with friends or like entertaining or eating or cooking or I don't know, mahjong, whatever it is that floats your boat. I think that we all need to find that for ourselves. I do think after the pandemic, we all have to learn how to have a little bit more fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When you're working for a client, how do you know when your work is done?
When it's fully accessorized. I think it's that last layer.
How long does that take in your experience?
It depends on the client and if they buy into that. I think
I agree with you 100%. And I'm asking that question because I feel, I see, and I fear purchase fatigue at the end of a job. And I completely commiserate with all clients, of course, you know, especially if they've built the house. Mm-hmm. If they've built it and then decorated it and then planted it, sometimes they need to catch their breath and go back.
And I think it's okay to take a pause, but I think then once they have caught their breath, both emotionally and financially, I think it's really important to go back in and I'm willing to wait. You know, I'm willing to say, hey, let's let you guys get moved in. Let's get you all get settled. And then I think they realize it too, though, that it doesn't feel finished or like home. And I'm like, you have done all of this work. Like you did all of that. You put all this time and energy and, you know, and capital behind this project. Like you deserve to finish it and to feel like it is fully home and not just a museum that's really pretty, but old.
A canvas. So if you have a client who's not a collector, how do you get them to put their arms around that final accessorizing phase?
I'm beg. No,
And what? You beg.
I say sometimes I'll say, give me a room. Let me do a room and let me show you what finished looks like. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
You know,
That's a great tack.
if they don't trust, you know,
Yeah.
and just say, hey,
One
like,
room.
or they're just fatigued, like you said, like, let me just do a room. It's not the whole space. I'm gonna come in, and then you're gonna be like, oh, I want this in all the rooms. I find that once they see it finished, they're 100% bought in.
Yeah.
But I just don't think that they know the difference between unfinished, and I think that a lot of people don't know that. Um, and it's really something that you can't feel until you're in it and you see it finished and you live in it and you're like, oh yes, this is a home. This is not just, you know,
And
a
somebody
project.
somebody just asked what we mean by accessories,
Mhm.
and we don't mean lamps, we don't mean mirrors, we mean the stuff on the tables. So obviously we want it to be personal to the people living there, but if they have nothing or have very little and they've expanded their footprint in their house, obviously we got to get them more stuff.
Mhm.
And we want this stuff to be both beautiful and special to them, but also to feather the nest.
Yes, and the mantles, the coat, the side tables. You know, it's just those last layers of surfaces that maybe if you look around feel cold, don't or just feel flat or
Yeah, and it's not just
empty.
junk. It's
Mhm.
layer, texture, color,
Mhm.
amplification.
Yeah, yeah, it's that final, and it just makes it, you know, and plants. I mean, I know, I want that. I feel like every room needs something alive, whether it's a person or a plant or something. But you know, just something a little, something that makes you feel like, oh yeah, people that life goes on here.
Yeah.
Life goes on
And
here. And does it
books.
look like it? Books, books. Yes, never enough.
Well, it is 2 o'clock. I wanted to ask you about art, but it's 2 o'clock. I can't just take your whole day.
Well,
Thank
next
you so
time.
much, Sarah.
Alexa, thank
So
you.
everybody needs to go to Jofa at the end, or just go in December. Go in the beginning of
Go in
December.
December.
Give
Yes.
yourself a Christmas present. Go to Jofa and see Sarah's new introductions, and I mean everybody can see your work everywhere.
Oh, you're sweet. Well,
Um, she's widely published. Go to her website or go to her Instagram.
and someone just asked, "Will I do a book?" Yes, I will do a book. I'm trying to time it for when the kids fly the nest, and as you know, Alexa, it takes a long time. To yeah,
2 years.
yeah. So I'm right on that verge. I'm already in discussions, so it
Good.
will happen. But I feel like you
Do
guys.
you have enough photography? Are you good about photographing your work?
I am, but I need to go back and redo some stuff. You know, again, I've got a plan in motion, and I need to. There's some stuff, some work that needs to be done.
Gather, gather that photography while you can.
Yes, that's what
Uh,
I'm doing. That's what I'm doing, everyone. So thank you, Alexa, for having me. You're so sweet.
I
I hope that the site visit goes well.
thank you.
Enjoy.
Likewise, and thank your client for letting us hang out in their beautiful wood paneled room.
Yes, thank you so much. Y'all take care.
Bye, Sam.
Bye.